with a quick live video. As you can see, I'm actually outside of Starbucks. I'm going to grab me a matcha latte because I don't drink coffee. That's the only thing I drink. But I'm making this live real quick because, I saw a video, I believe it was yesterday. I saw a video yesterday, right? And I kind of wanted to react to it a little bit. Oh, not necessarily react to it, but talk about it. The link will be in the description. So basically, it's talking about why U.S. citizens want to leave the U.S., why a lot of U.S. citizens want to leave. Now, this is kind of like my thought process behind it. Um, why people want to leave the U.S. And it's more so you're finding that it's more of like a millennial Gen Z type of thing. Um, and you can go through the video below in the link and just look at the details of it. But this is just my theory as someone who's within these age brackets. Um, I think one, our generation, granted, obviously not everybody's lazy, but a lot of people in our generation, they don't want to work for 40 years for 40 hours a week and retire and not have anything or barely have anything and live their lives. People want to live their best lives while they're younger or have better health. That is the one of the biggest things we're seeing right now. And honestly, you have a whole generation, my generation and younger, who has seen our parents work, slave. Some of them have something, some of them don't. But they sacrificed, time of their life that they can never get back when without really truly experiencing life. I mean, maybe they were lucky enough to take one or two vacations a year, but honestly, most Americans don't. And you have a whole generation, two generations, and pretty much everyone under 40. We've seen our parents or grandparents literally work their whole lives and never see any of the world or barely see any of that. So this is one of the reasons, like, we feel there's a good quality of life. We want more of a quality of life, even if that means some people take a less pay cut. Now, do I suggest you take a pay cut? No. I think you should make as much money as possible. And I think you need to do what you want to do, what you have to do, no matter where you're at. I don't believe in downsizing. I believe in making more money. But this is another reason. Reason number two. A lot of people were specifically in the Gen Z era, even some of us millennials. I personally don't feel this way. I feel like we've been scammed. We've been thrown into like a bad economy. I don't see it that way because right now on this live, I'm talking to 22 people I probably don't even know, or some that I do know. And we've never had the capabilities to do that anymore. You can hop on your phone. Like, I could hop on my other phone and just start, posting or marketing. I don't have to go out, save money to pay for billboards. Hey, what's going on, Fulvis from Italy? I don't have to go out and pay for advertising through TV or local TV networks. I don't have to pay through advertising through a radio station that's going to cost me thousands of dollars. And most people didn't have it. And some people did have it. They did that, and maybe it failed. Then they have to go back to the bank, go to the ringer. You can actually take this device. Exactly, the world is a movie. You can actually take this device, and this is what's crazy, and I still don't believe the general public realizes that, is you can take this device, set up an ads campaign, which most people don't know how to set up an ads campaign properly, but you can put yourself in front of thousands of people right now. You could never do that before. Even me going live, I'm putting myself in front of people right now. We've never had that opportunity ever in the history of the world that I know of, to be able to do that. So this is kind of how I look at it. But like I said, a lot of millennials and Gen Z, they don't see it that way. They feel like everything is expensive, which I'm not going to say it's not. I've seen rent jump up. We've seen home prices go up, and it's never coming back down. 2019 is long gone. Those days are done. Groceries are more expensive. Everything is more expensive. So a lot of people who are Gen Z, especially if we look at the American population, and average American income, anybody who's been sent out into this world by parents, and obviously we're not even talking about divorced parents, because the divorce rate is high and that kills any sense of camaraderie as far as wealth in the United States. So if a kid is sent out into this world at 18 without the tools, they feel like they're being scammed. They feel like they're being thrown into a world unprepared. And I think a lot of the older generation, not a lot of them, but I think some of them who don't realize, who have their pensions, who have their 401ks, who have their savings, who own majority of the real estate in America, who own majority of the businesses in America, they don't really see that majority of the population isn't quite like them. And this is where I kind of bridge the gap, because I see both sides. But I don't make excuses for this side, because I think we do have the technology, you have the wherewithal, you have the internet, you have a smartphone, you can get skills to make more money. There's no excuse. Block everything out and you can just work around the clock. But on the flip side, I don't think this other generation really comprehends and understands, because they suck the money out of the economy for this generation. So they're just like, you just need to work like we did, not knowing, like, the average car price back then was maybe like $5,000. The average house back then in like the late 70s, early 80s was like $25,000. And if you look at the income as opposed to the home prices, and the income as opposed to home prices now, it's not even comparable. So, and yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah, we still don't understand that it's not the right way to solve problems. That's true. And that's about framing, and this is why I'm making this video. So this is another reason why, a lot of people are leaving the U.S. is because they feel like, I want the best ROI. So they're looking at life through a business lens. You have people who are 22 years old, people who are 32 years old, people who are 42 years old, looking at life for the best ROI, the best ROI for my money. I mean, I've seen videos of how I can live off of $1,500 in, like, Colombia. And I've been to Colombia literally 3 times in the past 4 months. I've actually been out of the country 6 times this year. So I kind of understand, depending on where you go, obviously, even Japan, the dollar goes a little bit further over there. But here's the thing, they would rather cram down their lifestyle and have a better quality of life than to come over here and compete, or than to live here and compete. And I think, this is my theory, is that some of the generation is not psychologically built to actually compete in this economy, because the U.S. economy is a very competitive economy. But when you're talking about, I believe it's like what, $26 trillion in this economy, there is enough for everybody. The problem is we have more distractions. Everything's a lot higher. There's little room for error that a lot of us feel like we don't have. We don't feel like we have a lot of room for error. And it's like, why would they pay? I live in Miami right now. Right now, it's probably like 86 degrees. It's 86 degrees right now, right? The average rent right now is, I believe, like $2,500. So you're telling someone who maybe want to work out. I'm gonna walk into the Starbucks as soon as I'm done with this video. Someone who works at a Starbucks, who's in college, is probably making, I don't even know what they get paid now, maybe like $15 an hour. But after taxes, can afford rent, food, phone bill, God forbid if they have a car note and gas. Like, how can they afford that? That's why they want to leave the country. And it's really interesting. We're moving towards a corporate society. Or like, this society seems like, can I have Jordan 4? I will subscribe to your channel. I don't even have a pair of Jordan 4s. So, but yeah, you have many people who you feel like they're being scammed. Granted, we have the most opportunity ever, even though things are at the highest price point right now. So I never like to make these videos without the solutions. What's the solutions? Solution is, if you want the best ROI for your money, there's other places you can live and have a better quality of life. Granted, for me, I will never live in another place that has 4 full seasons. I can't do winters anymore. So if I ever leave the country, which I'm not, permanently, I'm not going to permanently leave this country, but I will leave for an extended period of time. But this is my country. This is home. But if you're going to leave to other places to make more money, you need to find a remote job. That's why I put Course Careers into the link in the description. It's a great way to make a great income over a few different weeks. Everybody should get into tech. If you're not into tech, you're going to be into tech. Everything's tech. Learning how to actually flip real estate virtually, which is why I'm a big proponent on wholesale and auction properties. I keep saying this in every video, and I'm not just saying, I've been doing this since December 2016. I've experienced every type of win and pretty much every type of loss. So I know exactly how it is. But if you want a better quality of life, then yes, move if you want to move. But you got to understand, if you really want to come up in the world, there's a reason why people come on over here. Obviously, they have advantages. I'm not going to say that and go into that discussion. But if you really want to compete in this world, this is the economy. The U.S. economy has enough money moving through it. It's just, do you have the skills necessary to capture some of that? And yes, maybe you want to make a lot of income, but still leave the country. By all means, do that. I have friends all over the world, and I would suggest you become some sort of global citizen, because right now with this, like I said, there's someone who chimed in from Italy. We're in a global economy. Granted, the U.S. is the biggest economy in the world. Everybody wants to participate in it because it's a lot of money flowing through the system. So if you want to move, I would suggest you get a remote job and leave and calculate your leaving. Because granted, you can go to some of these countries, like if you want to go to Ecuador, Peru, Colombia. Brazil's a little bit higher, but it's way less, especially here in Miami. Miami is one of the most expensive places in America right now that I live in. But you can actually make a large income. You could do great off of $80,000 a year in these countries over there if you want to do that. Now, or two, you can stay here and compete. How do you compete? You get skills. You do something in tech. I don't care what you're doing. Get a tech skill. I don't care what you're doing. You could be driving trucks. You could be in the nursing field. You could be in the maybe an electrician. You could be anything. You still need to learn a tech skill. Guys, I'm telling you from firsthand experience, from someone who's not just a guy talking on YouTube, but a guy who's actually out in the field behind some of these social media companies, talking to some of these developers on a daily basis. I wish I could show you my Signal and you would actually see. Most of you don't even know what Signal is, which lets me know you don't even know anything about tech. So I'm telling you, you need to get some sort of tech skill. I don't care what you're doing, just to have in your arsenal. We live in a day and age where you cannot stop educating yourself. The year you stop educating yourself, the more you're going to get behind. And I'm saying this, I'm emphasizing this because I don't know if you see the writing on the wall. We're going to see people thrive and a sector of the world just fall back, being second-class citizens. It is happening right now as I speak. And just, you got to understand, like, if you're on a coastal city, East Coast or West Coast, if you're not doing at least like 120 net, and that's the bare minimum, you're basically, if you're by yourself and you actually have good money habits, you should be fine. But we know that's not most of America, because you don't learn about money management in the public school indoctrination camp. And most of you don't. I mean, I didn't learn this in college. I had to learn this on my own. You don't learn this stuff. So what's something I can give you to subscribe to the channel? I can give you 230 some videos that I've made already, and maybe like 2 lives, pretty much teaching you everything of how to like wholesale auction properties, what to avoid, how to avoid scams, how to actually think about business context that most of these YouTubers don't give on their video, because they're saying, I did it, you can do it. Meanwhile, you don't know they were privately funded. Meanwhile, you don't know they didn't have to pay for rent, gas, utilities, all these bills. Meanwhile, you don't know they're connected to somebody behind the scenes who actually grows these YouTube channels, who actually grows these Instagram channels, who actually funds businesses. Maybe they started 6 or 7 businesses before that, and they finally got it right on their 7th one, because that happens a lot. So I got a lot of information on these videos, because I don't speak on anything that I don't know. I speak on basic experience. And trust me, I've done a few different types of businesses. I have a lot of good friends that are way more richer than I am, doing way bigger things than I am. And, I just tell context. So if you don't want to go through those videos, I don't know what to tell you. I got free stuff in the description below that can help you out. If you want to make money off of affiliates, it's a whole link of products that you can go through and look that maybe aligned with your audience, and you can just sell them to your email list. And they're actually good products because I've used them before. The digital stuff to help people out. Just understand, most people are not going to do anything, even if they pay for information, even if they pay for stuff. So it's more of a psychological aspect, and I've made a video about that. It's usually yourself, and I don't like the word mindset. I'm getting off track, but I have to talk about this. It's not just about mindset. It's about figuring out what's blocking you from doing what you're doing. And I'll give you a quick story. Look, so for instance, I have a friend. And I was telling him, I was like, look, he's in a good position. He's not struggling at all. He's doing pretty well, but he could do a lot better. He just doesn't realize that. He could do 10 times better. And I was telling him, like, hey, man, you have a lot of information. You have a lot of life experience. You have a lot of military experience. And I hope he doesn't see this video. But I was like, hey, man, you should be making at least you could make at least an extra 10K a month or 15K a month. And this is how you could do it. This, and this. And I told him because, he's seen me actually do it. I've done it before. So I was telling him, like, hey, you could do this, and this. And I've done it before when I was dead broke and didn't have anywhere to live because, one, I've made that type of money beforehand, and I made the mistakes to actually lose it, which is because I didn't have this right. And I learned how to actually build it back up and get it back. And what you have to understand is you have a threshold. So your brain is kind of like a threshold. If you go on Facebook ads, they have this thing called like a threshold. So let's say you want to spend $5,000 on ads this month or $10,000 on ads this month. They give you like a threshold. If you've never spent that much on ads, and I'm just using this as an analogy, you won't know that it's possible to do that. When I tell someone, I look at someone, and I have another friend who sells paintings. And I told her, hey, you could literally go on Facebook in your friends group, and you have paintings, you have canvases. You could DM all these people, and Mother's Day is coming up. You can DM 100 people a day. That's 700 people in a week on Facebook, and all middle-class American moms or middle-class American women. And hey, I'm having a Mother's Day special. I'm selling these prints for $20, $25, or $30. Let's say she sells, I'm going to just say it on the low end, $20. Now, let's say you have a sucking closing ratio, not even like 10%. Let's say you have 5, but 10% of 700, what is that? That's 70. And let's do half of that. That's 5. That's 35. You sell 35 of those prints, and I'm just using low end, $20. That's an extra $700 a week you've made just by cold DMing. And since it's a product, it's a little bit easier to sell. And it's a holiday coming up and you're running a special, it's easier to sell. Problem, she didn't do it. And you know why? Is because she had a blockage. Because human beings think things need to be complicated. And really the genius is in simplicity. And it took me a long time to learn that. And literally, if you actually take what I just said and run it as an experiment this week. See if you suck, you should at least make $700 this week. It's not hard. It's just that most people don't make the effort. And 2, it seems so simple because you've been sold and lied to that there needs to be a hack. There needs to be something extra. What are the details? There's no details. It's just selling and prospecting. That's it. And everybody wants to be sold. People want to spend their money. People want value from you. It's just, do you align with what they want? Give people what they want. You'll never go broke. Or even if you go broke, you can always make money by giving people what they want. It's literally that simple. I may actually do a YouTube video documenting me actually doing this, just so you can believe it, because some people need to see it to believe it. But even if you see it, if you don't actually experiencing it, getting your reps in, you won't know. For me, I don't care about rejection, because here with 10K a month, you'd like to be very rich. You could buy really a lot of things. A surgeon, for instance, gets 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's very true. And you got to understand, man, I don't think most of the average people understand how much money is moving through this economy. I'll give you another story. This happened about 2 hours ago. So I got connected to someone I helped do a podcast 2 days ago. She's a very well-connected woman out here. And when I mean very well connected, I'm talking about Saudi prince connected. She's selling commodities to people. I'm talking about like emeralds, hotels in Paris. Like I'm talking about like she sent me stuff. She asked me, "Did you know anybody that buys Boeing planes?" Which Boeing is bad, by the way, and some other planes that she has by private sellers to sell. She's talking about selling planes to Rick Ross right now. Like, I mean, I wish I was lying, but I'm not. But, it's really levels to this stuff. And what I want to help people do is get that barrier, because really it doesn't take, most people don't want a lot. Like most people don't want to be rich. You just want to make enough money to where your bills are fine, you got disposable income, and you got the time to do what you want to do. And that's what I've realized. If I can get at least, my goal, honestly, with this channel is to get at least 100 people past the 250K mark within the next year. Because I know once you hit that 250K mark, there is nothing you can't really do, especially if you have that and good credit and business credit. I mean, the world is your oyster. And it's like, I used to think it was very hard to do. And obviously I've gotten help, and you can't be above help. That's how you move up. You can't do it all by yourself. It's getting dark and I need to get to my matcha latte, but I wanted to just make this video to show you why people are leaving the US. But if you want to leave the US, like at some point, probably like next year, I plan on going to Rio. They actually have a good digital nomad visa that I just applied for the other day. So I may go there for probably like 6 months, but obviously Miami is my home. I'll be back, and I will live here forever. But, I'm gonna probably be there, maybe in Tokyo at some point for an extended period. I also plan on going to Paris this summer for probably a couple weeks, maybe like a month. I don't know. But there's nothing like the U.S. economy. And this is coming from like someone whose family has been affected by systemic racism and actually had funds stolen from my family back during the Freedmen's Bank. But I understand you can't live in the past, but don't forgive the past. But there's a lot of money in this economy, and there's a lot of opportunity. So every time I wake up, I'm thinking about opportunity, who I can help. And trust me, guys, I've been in a worse position than literally like 99% of my subscribers. I've been broke. I've been homeless. I've had maxed out credit cards of $25,000 plus. And I've been able to build myself back. So, honestly, there's a point I couldn't ask anybody in my family for $100. So if I can do it, and you definitely can do it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of how you approach things. It's all about your approach. All right. So I'm gonna read these comments. I'm gonna get out of here because it is hot. It is hot as hell. I don't even have the AC on in my Jeep. If we don't change our lives, we can't expect people to change us. It's all in our mind. Understand, what do you mean by barrier? Okay, what I mean by barrier is, I gotta crack this door because it's really hot. Sorry. Let me turn on the AC because it's really hot. So what I mean by barrier is, like, you gotta look at it like this. So, hold on real quick. What I mean by barrier is, okay, so there's a good book everybody should read. It's called Power Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph E. Murray. That's a really great book. And the reason why, and this is something we should be learning in elementary school, because we know about our frontal lobe cortex, but we never learn about our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind are basically the habits, our thoughts, our processes of how of who we truly are. So granted, you may think you're making a conscious decision, but you're actually not. It's actually your subconscious, because you've been programmed like that. Like, we really run off programs. If you actually study the brain, and I'm not going to get too deep into it. There's some books I can suggest. I'll probably put it on my community link, and maybe even some diagrams. So what happens when you're from the age 0 to 7, that's when you kind of become who you are. The rest of that time, if you want to change, you have to actually go into your subconscious and rewire. It's kind of like taking a hard drive out of the computer and wiping it and putting new programs back in and pushing it back in. So have you ever known someone that they might not necessarily be smart, they might not necessarily be good at anything, but when they do something, they get results. They hop to this, they get results. They hop to this, they get results. They hop to this, they get results. That's because when they were young, they were programmed to be successful. Their expectation is to succeed. They don't understand failure. They just, if they do something, they expect to be at a certain level. So this is a good analogy. If you look at George W. Bush, the son, he was like a C plus student, uh, alcoholic, degenerate, gambler. I don't know if he gambled, but he was just literally not fit to be a president of the United States. But you got to understand how he was brought up. He's brought up into a family that had the expectations. They had high expectations. Obviously, if he was born into a, like, let's say a family from West Virginia in a trailer park, he would, his expectations would be bottom of the barrel. So he would never succeed to become a president. So if he's with this family that comes from a presidential background that has this type of expectations, he may have he went to Ivy League school, he went to some of the best high schools, he was placed at the top. So all he knows is how to be at a top level. Even if he sucks at the top level, he's still going to be at that top level because he just has that expectation of being up there. And that's how you're wired. If you had ever had parents that said, I can't afford this, we can't do this, you got to train hard to do this, or I don't know about that, this is, they've made you, this is who you are. They've programmed their limitations into your mind. And the reason why, if I look at somebody and say, hey, you can literally go out and make like a couple $100 like this week. You can make you can start a business this week and probably make $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000. They probably look at me like I'm crazy because they've never done it on their own and they have a limited mindset. So everything starts with your subconscious mind. So a lot of these mindset videos never really go behind the science and also how you're raised. Because look, I don't want to bring the religious aspect of it up, but let's go there. Let's take it there for a second. People, if you're a Christian, who told you to be a Christian? It's because you were raised that way. It was instilled in you. If you were born in Bangladesh, you wouldn't be a Christian because you'd be raised to be a Muslim, because that was put into your subconscious. That was put into your mind. A lot of your thoughts and a lot of your programs and a lot of what you think and believe aren't actually what you think and believe. And in order to rewire that, you actually have to sit down, do some exercises, think intentionally. A great way to think intentionally, and this is something that I have done, set an alarm for every 15 minutes on your phone, right? And I want you to take the day and say, okay, I'm a actively think. And when I mean actively think, like you're being proactive about your thoughts. So I'm going to focus on this, or I'm just going to focus on that. When you do this test, you realize most of your thoughts, you're not really in control of what you're thinking of. And that's what I mean by running on a program, because a lot of people are programmed they're run on a program of poverty. They're ran on a program of struggle. They're ran on a program, of limitation that was put into you. And you got to understand, poverty is a mindset. And you have to change that. Being broke and having a rich mindset, if you're broke, you'll be fine. You're going to come back up. But if you have a poverty mindset, you have to rewire that. And that takes really exercises, reprogramming your subconscious mind. Because and this is why, and I'm going to say something real deep. This is why people who buy programs or buy online courses, they don't succeed. Is because they don't understand. They're looking for the solution in the program when the solution is actually in them to actually execute what they're doing. That's why most people fail. Everything is programmed into you. So you have to rewire that. Before you can move to that next level, you have to rewire you. And just, I said in a previous video that your business is a self-reflection of you. If your business is all messed up, it's because of you. Like, my first 3 years in business was a roller coaster, was a financial and emotional roller coaster. I'd be up. I mean, I see a wire hit. I have like $25,000, put it back into marketing. Boom, I got to borrow money the next month. And then boom, I make $75,000. And then boom, it was no money for 2 months. And boom, it was a roller coaster. And I couldn't understand why it was like that. And I had to do some self-reflection. And someone told me, he's like, Justin, your business is a reflection of you, of who you are. Do you have everything in order in your life? And at the time, no, I didn't. You know, my relationships weren't the best. Um, I still was like, you know, I wasn't the most positive person per se. I was positive, but I wasn't the most positive person to people, most say. So all these little things that you don't take care of trickle into your business, or trickle into you actually, you know, coming up, or however that looks for you. And these are things you got to take care of. And I know this is way off subject from the title of this video, but I just had to go answer this question. So before you can actually see the success you want, you have to fix you. And once you fix you, things will trickle so fast. I mean, and I'm speaking from personal experience. I almost lost my business in the pandemic. It went to nothing. And literally, I had this to some self-reflection. I did a lot of personal development for about 2 or 3 weeks. And at that point, I kind of knew what was wrong. So I knew the life hack, so to speak. And, you know, I was back up, and then I started traveling around the pandemic and then moved down here. But you have to focus on yourself first. You have to fix you. You will never get to that next level without fixing you. You have to fix you. Go in that subconscious and fix you. So that's really all I got to say right now. But check out that video about why people are leaving the U.S. He goes into more detail. I know I got a little off subject, but I need to make this video. Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Justin, Mr. CMB. I need to go get my matcha latte, and I'm out. Peace.